This video is for loan officers as well as consumers who are thinking about buying a home. And I know we have quite a few of you in our audience of viewers. So, excuse me. Today is July 19th, and the June housing numbers have come up. Obviously, we know inflation is at a record high. In fact, the highest it's been in 40 years. We're at over 9% inflation. That has made it so that the Fed is increasing interest rates. And with interest rate increase, the rate of consumer purchase naturally goes down because it costs more to live as well as more to borrow money. With that being said, there is also, I'm going to try to screen share here, fear and less confidence around builders even. The housing market in 2020 during the pandemic was super strong, and it's what led actually us into a strong, what we thought was leading us into a strong post-pandemic recovery. But what is essentially happening is we had a huge housing shortage, right, which causes price to go up, plus interest rates were low, so it made the market hyper competitive. Now that interest rates are inching up, builders are feeling less confident to build, and it is a huge problem, and it is something we still need. Like, we need new housing inventory because despite interest rates, despite inflation, our population is still growing, and we need access to housing supply. Having a more stable housing supply would make a more even and out supply-demand curve that goes like this. It would more even out and make for more reasonable housing prices. However, since we've had a lower rate of construction than we do supply, lower rate of supply than we have demand, it is what is causing huge price increases. And although it's starting to taper a little, there's a few articles I was reading through, it's starting to taper a little. Last year to this year, there's still been a 16.9% price increase of housing. So even though it's starting to slow down and it's starting to plateau a little, the fact that we have a housing supply crisis, an issue, is still the reason there's been such a huge gain in housing prices. But I wanted to bring up this article because housing supply is so important to access to housing, right? It also affects prices and affects people's ability to what type of houses they'll see on the market, whether they can only buy houses built from the 50s to 80s, or if they could see new construction, right? So permits came in at 1.685 million, down from May. And so, yeah, there's a slight slowdown in the amount of permits being applied for and issued to build new houses. So there's a lot of uncertainty about the economic future. Obviously, there's a prediction we're going to go into a recession, and that is affecting inventory. Inflation is hurting consumer confidence, and it also lowers the purchasing power with higher interest rates, because how it works is the higher interest rates means that people, if they have a job where it hasn't increased, their wage isn't increasing, then you can afford the same monthly payment. But if interest rates are rising, the amount of home you can afford actually gets lower, right? So it's making buyers think a little harder about whether they can afford to buy right now. So yeah, interest rates, as you all know, is hovering around 6%. And the Fed is actually speaking about increasing the interest rates again, and expects it to increase by 75 basis points. So in the context, though, if you think about it, 6% interest rate is still lower than 9% inflation. So if you have $50 sitting or $500 sit in your bank account next year, it's only going to be worth $450 something, whereas if you use that to buy a house, it's likely to increase in value even with this market. So just keep in mind that mortgage interest rate is still negative relative to inflation. Plus, if you were to put that money in the stock market, it would likely go down. So what are the alternatives of where you can put your money? Investing on a down payment of a house is still not a bad idea. So I did want to put it out there despite all this news. And like I say, buying for a borrower depends on the time, not all these economic factors, right? So if you're ready to buy, you're going to buy. If you're not ready to buy, you won't buy. I hope this little report on our housing supply is, as well as other macroeconomic news, was interesting. If you like this content, please please subscribe. Please share with others who want to work with student loan borrowers and want to help them afford more home. Or if you're in the market to buy and you just want to educate yourself. So please subscribe, share with those who you find would find this content relevant. Thanks.